The year is 2007. Spider-Man 3 has just entered cinemas. Britney Spears has just shaved her head. Apple have just released their amazing product, the iPhone. And the stock market is looking at another great year on the horizon. And in the same year, 6-year-old me was exposed to the phenomena that were Japanese animes that had toys to go with them. Hello everybody. My name is Tex Eterno, and when I was 6 years old, there were 3 main anime cartoons that were on every morning. It was Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and Bakugan Battle Brawlers. And it was great. Each episode would be on directly after one another. And my poor mom and dad had to work up the funds to get me the toys that I wanted to go along with these shows. Obviously, Pokemon had, the Pokemon games. I don't know if you know, but they're like, Also as well, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and Bakugan Battle Brawlers. For those that don't know what Bakugan are, they are essentially little tiny balls that pop up into creatures when they are attached to a magnet, essentially. I just realised I did like the Trump hand gesture. Bakugan Battle Brawlers. They're full of lies, amazing. They're from Japan. I love Japan. Japan is such a great place, filled with great people. I love Japan. The magnet that they were attached to was a thing called a gate card, which we'll explain more later on. And my mum and dad would buy me these when they could for like birthdays or special occasions, but they found a loophole. These TV shows had games. I played this game a lot as a kid, and to give you an example, I was replaying it, and from literally the depths of my brain, memories were popping up that I didn't even know I had. Like, I would be like, oh, this person says this after this bit, or there's this animation, and this is how this game plays. And like, slowly, I was like, oh my god, like, my repressed Bakugan knowledge had just like emerged back into my brain from years of, being stuck in the depths of it. I may be a Bakugan sleeper agent. I think I've come to that conclusion now. Before we start the game, we have to choose our attribute. These are basically the Bakugan equivalent of Pokemon types, and each one is a different element. They're pretty self-explanatory, but just in case you pull doors, I'm just gonna tell you anyway. Pyrus is fire, Aquos is water, Subterra is earth, Ventus is air, Chaos is light, and Darkus is dark. I went for Darkus because I'm an edgelord, and if you've watched my Sonic Adventure 2 video, you'd know I am the edgiest of all the edgelords. I love edging. The game opens up with a big ass purple orb and some purple guy being like, I'm gonna conquer all Bakugan. And then we see a load of dead Bakugan releasing the last of their life energy to create a scaling. We then see our fully customizable character being bullied by SpongeBob and Patrick. These aren't their actual names, but they look very similar. Then our hero, the Bakugan Battle Brawler himself, Dan, comes to our rescue, and so the tutorial of the game begins. The way Bakugan works is 2 or 4 players place down something called a gate card. Each gate card has a different bonus for each attribute that your Bakugan will get when it lands on it. If my memory serves me correctly, in the real life game, the Bakugans had numbers on them when they popped up, and that would be your G power that you would have, and then you would just add whatever number is on the card to that, and it would be a case of, oh, my number's bigger than yours. But in this game, they pull the whole size doesn't matter tactic and forces you to do some interactive mini games to win battles. This is the way they make use of the touchscreen on the DS, which if you didn't know what DS meant, it meant for dual screen or double screen. After I beat him, I thank Dan and say the most anime protagonist thing I think I've ever heard ever in my life. I'll be a Bakugan Battle Brawler someday. What the fuck, am I having a stroke? Then, out of nowhere, a Bakugan just appears and asks where he is. We tell him where he is, and then he introduces himself as Leonidas. And without even a second thought, we're like, partners? And he's like, fuck yeah. We take part in our first Bakugan tournament, where we fight 2 other of the Bakugan Battle Brawlers, Runo and Marucho. You don't have any idea how many times it took me to say that. That's like the 8th time I've said that, and it's worked. By worked, I mean my brain. We beat them and win our first tournament. Leonidas is causing the others a bit of suspicion of his real intent, but Dan, being the legend that he is, backs us up and says there's nothing to fear, just to tell the others to chill out. The next tournament is a double battle event, and me and Dan pawn up, and with us we absolutely demolish the tournament, and we move on to the next tournament, the Quad Royale. Before we compete, we get an email to say that Dan had got the shit kicked out of him in the park by a mysterious Bakugan, and immediately everyone points the finger at me and Leonidas. Julie runs up, isn't convinced that it wasn't us, promises to beat us in the next tournament. We get ready and... The music is too good for this arena for such a shit battle format. The Battle Royale style of this game is the least fun format of the entire thing, but we power through and we're able to beat Julie and the other two. We get introduced to the main villain of this game. He's called Marduk. He's called Marduk? I forgot about that. Who claims he's the best battleground brawler ever and introduces his partner, Vladitor, who claims to be the king of all Bakugan. Seems a little bit overcompensating if you ask me. But Dan appears to tell us that it was Vladitor who hurt him and Drago, and the two of them are here to challenge us. After a relatively easy battle, Vladitor then reveals the mystery of Leonidas' origins. He's from the Doom Dimension. The Doom Dimension is basically the Bakugan version of the Shadow Realm. Leonidas reveals that he is born from all the hate of the Bakugan who were trapped there. Damn, bro. You fucking listen to Evanescence, and that all he ever wanted to do was take out his anger on other Bakugan, but we changed him. Aww. Now back to fighting. Before the next tournament, we meet Shun, who just straight up tells us that he's only doing this so that Leonidas doesn't turn evil and join Vladitor. We go through the tournament and we finally face Shun. Now, I should probably mention my strategy for this game. I've sort of been borderlining Scum and how the game actually works. There is a mechanic in this game called double standing. Basically, when two of your Bakugan land on the same gate card, you win that card, and the whole premise is you win the gate card. If you win 3, you win the battle, essentially. So what you can do is essentially send out 2 Bakugan onto one card, claim that card, but there are gate cards that are specific for certain Bakugan. I had one for Garganoid, but basically, if my Garganoid were to land on that card, it would get a bonus, as well as any bonus attribute that it would get from that card. So what I basically did was send out 2 Bakugan to go and claim one card, send Garganoid out onto the card that I knew was his card, and hopefully win due to the added double bonus that I would get from the gate card. But also as well, I would use the ability cards. There's one ability card that I used, which I can't remember the name of. It basically prevents the fight from happening and just gives the Pokemon, gives the Bakugan who has the highest G power the victory. And so I would use that, or I would use cards that would change the mini game that you would have to do into a scratch battle, which is the easiest one out of all of them. So yeah, that's just sort of the tactic that I would use for it. I think it's a little bit scummy, but also as well, it's actual things in the game. It's just a combination of them all seem a bit sort of, you know, fuckery. After we defeat Shun, we are introduced to the second stupidest costume man in this game, who is called the Masquerade. We then get a flashback of Vladitor and the old guy, who is now called Howji, by the way, I should probably mention, and the Masquerade, and they make a deal about, I don't know, ending the world. But in the real world, we are congratulated by Dan, and now we move on to the final tournament, which will end with me and Leonidas facing against Dan. It's intense, but against all odds, we won. And Dan congratulates us, and then we can finally take our... Oh, fuck's sake! So the edgelords enter the battlefield and threaten us with beating me in the next tournament and do this whole ruling Bakugan and conquering them and whatever. What do you mean I have to fight everyone again? And how did all their Bakugan evolve other than mine? Fast forward ahead and we defeat all the Bakugan brawlers and defeat the Masquerade and finally face against Marduk and Vladitor and promptly prove that me and Leonidas are an unstoppable force. As we claim our victory, evil Colonel Sanders enters through a portal with the Silent Orb, and in a last-ditch effort to claim victory, Vladitor steals it and uses it to evolve and sends us all to the Doom Dimension. By evolved, he just gets an axe. Sure. Brother, I'm like a YouTuber. Because we are in the Doom Dimension, all the other Bakugan start to get their power drained, other than Leonidas. Placing that last bit of power and faith in us, Leonidas evolves and the final battle begins. Now this strat that I've been using this entire run is completely thrown out the window because only one Bakugan can be in this fight, and it's Leonidas. And it's literally just Leonidas versus Vladitor. So, yeah. However, somehow, because I'm an epic gamer, we beat Vladitor and save the day. Vladitor says some shit about being grateful that he met Marduk, and he dies. Good fucking riddance. And then a huge curveball, as Leonidas is like, oh, I'm dying as well. But thanks for being my friend, bye. Well, that was a bit abrupt. What the fuck? We then tell Marduk that we can be friends and we can have Bakugan battles, you know, whatever, and then the game literally ends with, we were Bakugan brawlers all along. Let's go home, guys. We go back to the park and reminisce on the good old days that was literally yesterday, and then all of a sudden, holy fuck, I'm having a stroke again. I'm back, bitches. Leonidas is back. It turns out Vladitor gave him the last of his life energy so that me and him can be Bakugan brawlers forever. So yeah, that was Bakugan Battle Brawlers, a game from my childhood that I had a lot of fun with replaying and going through it all again. A lot, like I said earlier, it was just stuff coming back to me that I hadn't done in so long. So yeah, if you ever watch Bakugan, the anime, or if you've ever played this game, please let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, why don't you leave a like and subscribe while you're at it. So yeah, thank you everyone so much for watching. My name has been Tex Eternal, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye! To a scratch battle, which is the easiest one out of all of them. One out of all of them.